What's up, collectors? Welcome back to Films by Color. We've got another recommendation video for you today, and the theme is Irish movies for St. Patrick's Day, which is right around the corner. I've got my wife Grace with me today to talk about these because we've been watching through all of these over the last few days, and we've really been enjoying them. We've got 5 movies to get through from 5 different directors and a few bonuses as well. So hopefully you get something out of this video because we love all of these films, and we think you will too. So let's go ahead and start at the bottom and jump in at number 5.
Let's do it.
All right, number 5. This is a brand new movie to our collection. It's not a brand new movie. It's all the way back from 1959.
Definitely not a brand new movie.
But it is a brand new movie to us. We just picked this up in the closing Disney Movie Club sale. I've heard a lot about this movie for a long time. A lot of people watch this on St. Patrick's Day. It even has a 4-leaf clover right there on the cover. And it is Darby O'Gill and the Little People.
Yes, this is what everyone knows Sean Connery from, right?
Yes, that's a great point. This is a pre-James Bond Sean Connery, so it's really cool to see him. He's very, very young. Unrecognizable if you know him from like his second encore career when he's older.
Yeah, this is
in
definitely
Indiana Jones and stuff.
Definitely the youngest I've ever seen him. I would not have recognized him if I did not know that's who that was.
But he is not the lead in this.
No.
The titular Darby is the lead, who is this older gentleman right here playing the violin. That's Darby, and the movie is mostly about his relationship with the leprechauns, especially King Brian, the king of the leprechauns, right down there. So it's mostly just a fun adventure with Darby matching wits with King Brian and them trying to get the best of each other. But there also is a little side story with Sean Connery and Darby's daughter, a little romance there going on. She is a stubborn, hard-headed Irish woman who does not want to fall in love with Mr. Sean Connery. And this is a beautiful Disney movie. You watched a little bit of this with me.
Bit, yeah.
It's
the kids
got
did too,
some
actually.
incredible sets. The town is all like completely built. It's all just facades. It's not a real town, but they look great on camera. There are a ton of amazing visual effects in this, some groundbreaking stuff for the time. There is a bunch of forced perspective shots, and they use mirrors. They use giant sets for the leprechauns. They use dolls, everything you can think of to try to make it look like these leprechauns are very, very small creatures, and it looks great. Everything holds up. There's a little bit of like green screen chroma key visual effects at the end with like a ghost banshee character, and that doesn't hold up great, but everything else with the leprechauns still looks amazing, and it's all done, like I said, practically in camera with mirrors and forced perspective stuff, which I love. I went to college for visual effects, which you know, so I love looking at all that kind of stuff. And the movie itself was just fun. You saw a little bit of it. We watched it with the kids.
Yeah, they were digging it too. I'll have to finish it with them sometime soon.
Yeah, the kids didn't finish it. They had to go to bed. We watched about half of it with them, and they were liking it. So that is just a light, fun fantasy adventure and a family film. So I wanted to put that one right at number 5 because pretty much anyone can watch that one. Yeah. And we had a lot of fun with it.
All right, hidden gem, if you will.
Moving on. All right, moving on to number 4. That last one was an American film made by Walt Disney, just set in Ireland and very Irishy. This one is actually made by an Irish director named Tom Moore, and this is an animated film, beautifully animated film. I'm talking specifically about Song of the Sea, but all 3 of these I highly recommend. Tom Moore directed all 3 of them. All 3 of them have this beautiful, gorgeous 2D animation, which we don't get much of at all anymore, and these are very, very unique. They kind of look like old Scottish or just English paintings in general that you would find in like a old Bible or one of those old kind of like bound books.
Celtic fairy tales or something.
Drawn by monks in the margins. And speaking of that, one of these, The Secret of Kells, is about a little boy who is a monk in training, and that one's great as well. But Song of the Sea is the one that I'm talking about. It is about a little boy and his younger sister, which is maybe why it resonated with me, because we have a little boy and a girl, age 5 and 3. And I watched this one with them, and they loved it as well. They're really beautiful, colorful films that children love, but they're really, really great for adults. There's a lot of, not darker themes. Adult themes makes it sound like they're not good for kids, but they're great for kids.
It's like a Pixar kind of thing where there's elements of...
There's definitely stuff for the adults to love as well. This one, Song of the Sea, is specifically based on an Irish folk tale about people who turn into seals. Oh. So I won't give away too much, but daughter and son are living with their father, and they have to move in with their grandmother when their mother dies, and the father is not taking, this happens before the film, it's not a spoiler, but their father is not taking it very well, and he's like a fisherman, and he has to be out on the sea all the time. So they go to live with their grandmother back in the city, and then it's kind of a homeward bound situation where they both run away from home and try to get back to their father and get back to the sea.
Song of the Sea, I get it.
And there's a lot of fantasy elements, and you find out like the daughter has inherits a lot of her mother's traits. Well, that's all I'll say. But beautiful, beautiful film, and I like that one a lot. You haven't seen Secret of Kells or Song of the Sea, but you have seen the third film in here, which is Wolf Walkers, which I'm pretty sure will be the one that most people have seen out of this trilogy, because that was an Apple TV Plus exclusive last year, and or a couple years ago, and a lot of people saw that one. I think it was nominated for Best Animated Feature that year.
Oh, okay. Our daughter is obsessed with wolves, so
she loves wolves. Big bad wolves. That's another father-daughter movie where with another metamorphosis plot. I guess that's a big thing in Irish folklore, is they're turning into wolves in that one. But another amazing, and I think that's most people's favorite in the trilogy.
I really liked it.
It's great. It's really good. You watched that one with the kids and I. That one is a little bit more scary. Secret of Kells is a little bit more slow. So I think those two, maybe older kids, maybe wait till your kids are a little bit older. But Song of the Sea, I think, is great. Really, really great. That's the one I would start with if you're showing your small kids. But all of them are wonderful. And I really recommend this release. I'll open it up here for a second. This is a full, like big, beautiful box set. That's the slipcase. It also has a little booklet in there with a bunch of features. I've done a full unboxing video of this on the channel, so I won't talk about it too much, but I love the storybook nature of this box set. There's the first film, Secret of Kells. There's the second film, Song of the Sea, and the most recent, Wolf Walkers. And it also has a bonus disc with a ton of special features on there. So incredible release for some really great films. And I highly, highly recommend that. 3 more, but we'll just count that as 1 at number 4.
Deal.
Number 3 is another incredible film, both of our favorite films from a couple years ago, 2022. This was an Oscar-nominated film, and it was way up there.
Never guess what it is.
And it takes place completely in Ireland. It's got an Irish cast, and it has a director who, you were telling me, he wasn't raised in Ireland, but he is Irish.
Both his parents are Irish. He went to an Irish Catholic school. Very Irish man, but he was actually in London, I think raised in London.
And it is called The Banshees of Inisherin, directed by Martin McDonagh, who is one of our favorite directors. Yes. He's not for everybody. He makes some really dark comedies, and his sense of humor is not for everybody.
Because, for me.
Yeah, we love it, but we talk to other people, and it doesn't work for them. But Banshees is great. It stars Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson.
And Colin Farrell's eyebrows.
Which these are 2 actors that Martin McDonagh goes back to a lot. They were both in Bruges together, which I would love to put on this list, but it doesn't nothing to do with Ireland. It's about Belgium, but this is 100% an Irish film. Unlike Darby O'Gill, this is shot in Ireland, and Ireland is on display the entire time. What a beautiful place.
Makes me so proud to have Irish blood. Like, man, it just wants me to, my motherland is calling me home in this film.
Yeah, we need to go on a trip to Ireland, because it looks gorgeous. Even in this very, very depressing, sad film full of lonely, sad people, the scenery looks amazing. It looks incredible.
I'm not putting me donkey outside when I'm sad.
Yes, starring Jenny the donkey, which is one of the best characters ever. Colin O'Farrell,
please keep that in.
Also starring Kerry Condon as Colin Farrell's sister.
And Barry Keoghan.
And Barry Keoghan is one of the best performances of the year. He's incredible. We haven't even said what it's about yet. It's about 2 best friends. Right here, we've got Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson, and unceremoniously, all of a sudden, one of them decides to end their friendship, and it's about how the other one deals with it, and their continued relationship and the friction that causes.
They both don't deal with it very well.
No, it does get pretty gruesome. It's definitely an R-rated film. There is one scene of nudity, a little bit of language, and some very graphic violence in a couple scenes. So fair warning, it's definitely an R-rated film. Do not watch this one with the kids.
Not kid-friendly. friendly.
With your grandparents, maybe, unless you have cool grandparents. But Banshees of Inisherin, like I said, our favorite movie of 2022. We loved it. We just watched this again the other day.
Yeah, I was worried it wouldn't hold
film.
up, and it was like better than the first time I saw it, I think.
Yeah, so good. And it's strangely a feel-good movie. Even as dark and depressing as it is, we were having a blast watching it together.
And it's just so good.
So good.
So good.
Such great characters. But it's not just like a feel-good, like fun, dark comedy. There's also a lot of stuff in here, and I don't know exactly what resonated with you, but I imagine there's a lot of stuff in here about depression and, like I said, really lonely people.
Despair.
And it's a super small town on this tiny little island of Inisherin is where this takes place. And they call it the Despair, because this is a time this takes place. We should say this takes place back in the 20s.
During the Irish Civil War.
During the Irish Civil War, and obviously people with depression, like, we didn't really know how to treat that back then. They just kind of talked to the priest, and the priest like asks him how his despair is like it's a sin, which tells you everything you need to know about this time period. But yeah, there's pretty much everyone in here is depressed. It's such a tiny small town that they have really nothing to do. No one has anything to live for.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of it is about, like the toll that it takes on Brendan Gleeson and how that affects his relationship and how he wants to leave this legacy, but he puts that ahead of other things in his life and like what that looks like and what that means. And I don't know, it's just really beautifully told. The screenplay is so tight, and like watching it the second time after like you know what's going to happen, it's even more beautiful, like hearing his confessions and his thought process and like what he was hoping to accomplish. And
I think it's a beautiful exploration of like living your life career-oriented and legacy-oriented versus just being nice to people and treating people well, loving others. And that, I don't know, I thought that was great. That's what I really latched onto the second time, whereas the first time I was more focused on just the stubbornness and hard-headedness of people, which is a recurring theme in Irish cinema, at least. I don't know about Ireland. I can't speak for Irish people in general,
you can't.
Although she is a good example of that. But for whatever reason, in Irish cinema, we really seem to focus on really stubborn people. And this is such a beautiful film and such a funny film. Hilarious. We were just laughing the whole time. Unfortunately, the film is distributed by Searchlight Pictures, which is run by Disney, the worst physical media company ever. So all we get is this little bare bones, nothing release with one special feature and a couple deleted scenes. We had to buy a custom slipcover off of a seller on eBay because it's not a great release. Hopefully someday we'll get lucky and one of the boutique labels will pick it up and give us a nice release that this movie deserves, because
Criterion, can you hear us?
Maybe Criterion. Kino Lorber did put out a beautiful release, 4K release of In Bruges. So hopefully there's still a relationship there. I know it's a different studio though, so it might not matter. But hopefully we'll get a really nice release of that someday. So if anything we just talked about sounds interesting to you, if you suffer from depression and you might find something useful in here, or if you just have a really dark sense of humor like us and you want to watch a really dark comedy, we highly recommend Banshees. That is our number 3.
I have both.
All right, number 2. This is one of our very favorite films. We just rewatched this the day before Banshees, just over the weekend. Another amazing film and another amazing filmmaker. This is from John Carney, one of our favorite filmmakers.
Another Irish director.
He is fully Irish, and all of his, not all of them, but most of his films are Irish. He's only made like 4 films, unfortunately. He has not made enough. I need him to make more films because I love all of them. This one that we're going with for our number 2 is called Once. This is his first film. I've got this lovely edition that you got me for my birthday. Thank you so much. This is a Nova Media release. This is a steelbook full slip with a really cool booklet in here that has all of the lyrics. So this is a musical, an unconventional musical. It's not like they're actually breaking out into song, but the characters are musicians, and there's a beautiful soundtrack. And the title song, which is Falling Slowly, which was all over the place the year this movie came out. I think it won Best Song that year.
Yeah, it was one of those that I like knew the song before I even watched the movie. I didn't even realize it was from a movie until we watched it together, and I was like, oh, I know this. So great. So great.
The entire soundtrack is great. I've been listening to it nonstop since we watched this about a week ago, and I can't get the songs out of my head. The story is about a musician who's super down on his luck. He's living in Dublin. He's still living with his parents. He's like 30. His music career never took off.
Yeah,
he's a
like,
vacuum salesman.
And he's busking on the side.
He's singing on the side of the street with an incredible opening scene. That
One of the best
hilarious.
opening scenes ever.
One of the best opening scenes in any movie ever. He's also getting over a huge breakup. They were together for many, many years, and he's very lonely. Again, lonely, very sad people in these movies. But he meets a girl. He meets a Czech immigrant who is also kind of like selling flowers on the street. She listens to his music. She loves his music. She's also an aspiring musician, and they get together and they record an album together. And I don't feel like I can spoil this movie at all, except for the ending. But it's a super simple story, but most of it is just an execution. One of the cool things about this is it's shot completely handheld, kind of like The Office style almost. Like you can tell, like there's literally some. It's not supposed to be a documentary, so it's not full Office, but it looks like that. You can see like the camera's constantly shaking. It's not on a tripod or anything, and I think that really adds to the homemade feel. Yeah, it feels very authentic. A lot of the scenes are improvised. You can tell that the actors are just kind of working. They just kind of have an idea of what the scene's going to be, and they just kind of go. I'm sure there's a script, but most of it is just them kind of improvising, just singing like full songs together, and the camera's just kind of moving around the whole time.
Their chemistry is so good together.
They're so good. She's hilarious.
They're both
He's
like
hilarious.
very dry, and they kind of like banter and attack each other a lot, but in like a really hilarious way that's like really endearing. And I just love it.
Yeah, I absolutely love this movie, and I can't believe I made it this far into us discussing it without bringing up Eric Rohmer, because I love Eric Rohmer. He is one of my favorite filmmakers of all time. French director, if you don't know, he films very naturalistic movies just like this, of people just having conversations, and this feels like I gotta imagine that John Carney likes Eric Rohmer.
It's like Eric Rohmer with music, which is why I liked it.
That was my review on Letterboxd. I called it Eric Rohmer the Musical. So if you like Eric Rohmer, or if you like Linklater's Before trilogy, I highly recommend this. This is pretty much just like an Eric Rohmer movie or the Before trilogy, but instead of Venice, it takes place in Dublin, a little tiny town of Dublin. Again, common theme is that they're trying to get out of this town. And this is a really common theme with Carney films. So we'll actually recommend another one for you.
Right into it.
That we love is Sing Street. This didn't make our list because it's very similar to this. He's one of those directors who kind of just remakes the same movie each time, but I don't even care because they're so well made. It's basically like boy is sad, boy meets girl, boy makes music with girl, and then both boy and girl help each other through a really hard time in their life. This one, though, is much, much more produced than Once.
Yeah, I would agree.
He had a movie in between these that he made in America with American actors, Keira Knightley and
Begin Again. Yeah. Mark Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo in Begin Again. But this one, he goes back to his roots. This also takes place in Dublin. Another amazing film, another musical film with an incredible soundtrack. So we recommend both of those. We like Once a little bit more, so we just put that one on the list. We didn't want to have two of the same director's films taking up two spots on the list.
Sing Street has some bops, though.
Yeah, Sing Street's great. I think a lot more people are familiar with Sing Street because it was a much bigger film.
These are more like singer-songwriter songs, I would say, if you're into music, and these are more like
80s pop.
Yeah, 80s pop. So, but they're
whatever
all
floats
great.
your boat. But they're both incredible films, and I'm glad we have both of them. And we actually just watched both of them recently, and they both hold up great. So check out some John Carney films. We highly recommend them, especially his Irish films. We haven't got a chance to see his new one yet that came out last year.
Like last year, yeah.
He has another Irish film. I don't think it's music related at all.
It's Irish, though?
It is.
Okay.
I think it takes place in Ireland, but I don't know much about it. We got to check that one out. But these two, we highly recommend. All right, we're down to our number one. This is absolutely our favorite film to watch this time of year. We've watched it the last 2 years in a row. This is not an Irish film technically. It's made by an American director, but a director that completely loved Ireland, fell in love with Ireland, and made a bunch of films set in Ireland. It's made by John Ford, the great John Ford, who made a million good films. This is one of our favorites from him. It's The Quiet Man, starring John Wayne and Maureen O'Hara. This is a beautiful film. Another one that is just such a feel-good film. We just watched this last night, and we were laughing the entire time. John Wayne plays a man who was born in Ireland in a little town called Innisfree, which is where this takes place. But he quickly emigrated out with his mother when he was very, very young, and he was raised in America. He lived his entire life in America until he is the age he is now, and he has his own personal reasons for coming back to Innisfree, which we won't spoil, but he's a little bit of a tortured character. He has some demons, and he is trying to get back to Ireland and live just the simple life. He's a very well-off man now. He's got a lot of money, but he just wants to come back to his hometown his town of his birth, Innisfree, and just wants to live a simple life in the Irish countryside. And we get to see him come home and just immediately fall in love with the town and all of the simple folk in the town. They just sit around and they drink whiskey and they drink stouts in the pub. Pretty much all they have is like a pub, and they go to church, and there's priests in this. That's another thing about Irish films. Every single one of these has a priest in it.
Yeah.
Multiple priests. Like
this one has quite a few.
They really, really like their priests, and they're all great. I love all the priests, except for in Sing Street. There's some really terrible, terrible men in that one. But every other film, the priests are great. I don't think Once has any priests in it, but all the other films have really hilarious priests that are kind of rough and tumble Irish guys, but they just happen to be priests. So we get to see him fall in love with the town again, and also with a fiery redhead named Mary Kate, who is played by the great Maureen O'Hara, one of my favorite actors of all time. You love her as well. She's amazing in this. They have kind of a little bit of a will they, won't they going on because she, again, is so stubborn and hard-headed. So they go back and forth. John Ford has to kind of put her in her place, and she has to put him in his place. And they have such a great relationship, such great banter, and really, really great characters all around. I love it. And yeah, I don't want to give away too much, but it's just amazing. And like we said with Banshees, this one even more so just showcases the Irish countryside.
Gosh, it's so beautiful.
Beautifully. Every single shot outside is gorgeous. This is shot in Ireland. They actually went to Ireland to film this.
I feel like
no sets. It's just like open air. There's tons of just scenery everywhere. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, I feel like with Banshees, like it's the same scenery, but it's like it's a darker movie, so it's set in like a drearier tone. Whereas this is like blue skies, bright skies, absolutely gorgeous. Like.
Yeah, that's color graded to kind of match the dreary tone of that. This can be as colorful as it wants because
sheep
it's
grazing, like
just sheep walking around.
Oh,
You've got
so
Maureen
cool.
O'Hara just running around in her bare feet all across Ireland. She's amazing. We really, really love this one. This is an Olive Films release. If I can get it out of here. There we go. Olive Films, unfortunately, is no longer with us. They have closed, but this is a great release from them. I love the booklet inside. It's got a nice booklet, just like most boutique releases. Artwork on the front. I won't spoil what this artwork is of, but it's
there's
just
just
the best scene ever.
So much simplicity in this.
So overall, a very simple story, mostly just a romance of these two characters. That's very charming, but there is a little bit, like I said, of John Wayne's character working out some of his demons that he picked up in America. I've actually recommended this movie in a video in the past, and I've got quite a few comments of people who said they checked it out and really, really loved it. So I think it's a pretty universal film. Expertly shot and directed by John Ford. So if you only can watch one of these movies that we talked about today, this is the one. We highly recommend The Quiet Man. Obviously, we love Banshees and we love Once, but both of those are a little bit more niche and may not work for everybody. I think anyone can watch this film, and I think most people will love it. I think it's great. Highly recommend John Ford's The Quiet Man. That's our number one, but let us know in the comments what your favorite Irish films are. We're always looking for more recommendations. We have a few more days until St. Paddy's Day, so a little bit more time to watch some on-theme films. These are our personal favorites from what we've seen so far, but I know there's a lot more stuff out there to watch, so we are relying on your recommendations in the comments, so please give those to us. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you for being here with me. I've been getting a lot of comments lately about how they want to see you in more videos. They're like, no offense to you, DJ, but we want to see Grace in more videos, so hopefully we can make that happen and get you on here a little bit more. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, keep collecting, and we'll be back with another video real soon.